my main message for people who are suffering from health problems is you can heal. It's not a question, it's a certainty.
Hey guys, welcome to our SoulFam Podcast where I interview space holders from all over the world. I am Karolina and I am the connection catalyst. I help spiritual entrepreneurs experience deeper connection with themselves, with others, and with the universe. Today on the show, we have Phillip Warda, our beautiful magician, because he makes magic with the piano. Welcome to the show, Phil. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you so much for having me on. I'm doing great today, having a beautiful day. Sun is shining, so I'm in a good mood. And yeah, all is good. Thank you for introducing me. That's right. I'm Piano Magic with Phil. That's my my business name, let's say. And yeah, I love to play piano, and I guess you could call me a sound healer.
Yes, you are a sound healer. I've experienced it in Nosara in Costa Rica. I was on your concert and I know how much my soul was healed with music. And so I would love to talk about healing with music because I know that when you actually experience it, you can feel that the music is shifting your energy. But I don't know if everyone here listening has ever experienced really being on a concert where the intention is to heal with the music and to go into this meditative state where you can really experience other frequencies of your brain in a way that make you in kind of like resting mode of your brain, and then you can really go deep into even like almost like a hypnotic state or alpha state or even maybe other states. So I would love you to talk a little bit about how does it work that music changes our life so much and how it shapes our perception, our brain, and also how does it work that the music even heals us? Like, what's up with that?
Hmm. Yeah, beautiful questions. That's a very interesting subject, which I'm happy to discuss. With music, we we're essentially kind of I feel like we're kind of hacking a sense that we have. Like same as art, we use our eyes are designed for, protecting us from predators or whatever, but our ears are designed for us to hear predators. But we've kind of hacked it and created this medium through which we can communicate sound. Um, and in this medium, we've created different genres of music, and each genre has a particular kind of function, and yeah, listened to in different times. I think, all music is healing depending on your taste. I think a lot of people are very maybe niched and they prefer a certain genre of music. But there's also people like myself who I just love all music, all genres. If it's good music, I like it. Um, I think, yeah, music is definitely healing. When you look at, um, I'll always remember this clip of like this old man, and he's like really bad Alzheimer or dementia or something, and like not able to communicate. And then they play him like a track, like some blues track from his childhood, and he gets up and starts dancing, and all of his mental cognition comes back. So there's something definitely to the way that music works and the capacity. Whether we're going to talk about the exact science of how that works, I don't really think I'm an expert in that, but I can definitely attest to it from a personal um, standpoint where um, you know when we have certain memories associated with a piece of music, it's like a smell can just take you back to somewhere. Same with a piece of music. A music can take you back. Like, I listened to a specific genre when I was in my teenage years. You play me any one of those songs and I'm back there. I remember the same people I was with, the same things I was doing, the same food I was eating or whatever. um so yeah, music is very powerful. Where should we go from
Yeah.
there?
Yes, it is. And I totally agree that it could be like a memory. It could be like something that really awakes our soul to specific experiences in our life. Because, yeah, I listen to kind of like emo music. I'm straight back in my secondary school as a
Mm,
teenager, going to all these concerts. And that's beautiful. And that could be really healing for us as well, because we can come back and we can really nourish our soul with all these beautiful things that have happened in our life. But also, I feel like even these kind of like types of music that don't necessarily make us feel good, they can also help us. Because if I, for example, feel sad and I cannot really go into the sadness because I'm not really in the mood of that. If I want to go through some kind of trauma, for example, I want to go deeper into my sadness, I can listen to some sad music that will bring me straight back to this feeling, right? And then it can be healing for me to actually listen to something that is, yeah, just, let's say, more imposing more negative feelings, but it can be very useful, right? In the same way that heavy metal music can be useful for expressing anger. And I remember as a teenager I had a lot of anger inside, and I love just, putting metal music on my headphones and just like, jumping around and just like expressing how I was feeling. So I feel like in these ways the music can really shape how we feel, change our mood, and therefore really we can use it as a tool in ways that, if we have something that we want to express, we can use, let's say, top down approach in terms of like listening to the very beautiful and amazing and uplifting and loving music during the day. But when we are triggered and we want to go deeper into the trauma, into the feeling, we can always use music to bring us back to this negative feeling and amplify it so that we can feel it more and more, and then ultimately heal it. Because the deeper we feel the feeling, the more we can go to our childhood, the more we can go to this original trauma and feel it to the fullest. Then this feeling is going to be emotion, energy in motion is going to be let out of our body at some point. So even these kind of like negative or like very heavy music or sad music or even like aggressive rap music can bring us to these feelings that we maybe might not be able to access in everyday life if we just sit and try to feel it. So would you agree with that?
Absolutely, yeah. I think sad music is maybe a bit of a like like a covering term, because really it's just a genre, it's just an emotion. For me, I really like kind of sad romantic piano music. That's really where I thrive. Kind of film music, you can imagine those kind of ethereal songs where there's some, gentle piano going on, some repetitive stuff. That's really where I thrive. I have like, I'd say maybe half or more of my repertoire on the piano is actually, maybe you could say, sad music. I remember one time I was playing in where I lived in university, and there was my friend from next door. I was just playing my kind of sad emo music, let's say, and he just knocks on the door and he goes, "Stop playing that shit! You're making me depressed." So for him, that had the effect of that's depressing music, but for me, it
Hmm.
sounds beautiful and it feels like soul opening. Um,
Hmm.
so maybe he was closed off and he wasn't able to express himself, express his spirit. So when he heard something that, because music kind of forces you to touch into those emotions, like you can't listen to, a piece of Bach and not be, astounded at the beauty of the music, of the complexity of the harmony. And you can't listen to, dance music without feeling like a beat going through your body. Music has like a medicinal effect. It's like therapeutic. It's like straight into your synapses. Like when you take a drug, it's like, slowly dissolves and then enters into your synapses. Music, boom, into the ear, into the brain. It's like a drug, right? Music is like a drug.
That's why
So
it's so addictive.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, I personally really love like classical music. That's kind of what I was raised on, like Bach or Chopin or Beethoven. If the listener wants an example, listen to the Brandenburg concertos, specifically number three. The Brandenburg concertos were these concertos written by Bach for like some rich king or whatever, and they're just so epic. There's like a string quartet with a harpsichord, and the sound that Bach has created is just so majestic and so powerful. Like you can just see people in Renaissance times dressed in this Baroque attire and dancing and doing like a waltz, and just so powerful. So um different music serves different purposes. I'll listen to that and it will just really uplift me. And then another time I might listen to like, drum and bass or something because I'm working out and I need like something that gives me like a kick. So yeah, music's like a drug.
Yes, it is. And it's pretty interesting that you mentioned Bach now, because I think that yesterday I was just speaking to a friend in here in Madeira, and he was saying how he was listening to, I think, Bach music on his headphones while he was meditating. And this music was like really amplifying the state and the visions that he was having while meditating. So you can really sometimes choose the music that you want to go into with meditation, right? With whatever you're exploring in yourself. And so, yeah, music could be an amplifier of whatever you feel there. And I have had personally, I'm not sure if I've ever mentioned it to you, but I personally had a psychedelic experience once when I literally saw the music coming out of the speakers of my laptop. It was literally like
Mm.
energy. And it was interesting because when the chorus came in, the shape and the color of the energy coming out of the loudspeakers completely shifted. And I could see how it shifts with every wave, with every sound that it, that it comes out. Like, I really could see that music is energy. It is literally the wave, and I could see it with my third eye, of course, because my third eye was open at the time. But this made me
Mm.
really understand that our voice is vibration, is energy. It's literally like real. It's there, I saw it. And the music that you listen to is a vibration. You can literally shape your energy in your aura, right? If you play on loudspeakers, if you play some beautiful meditative music in your room is going to be filled up with this beautiful energy and beautiful vibes, and you could feel it when you enter the room where the music was playing earlier. Like, I can at least sense it. If I go to some place, for example, where they play heavy metal music, it seems like yeah, a little bit like I don't know, just not as like uplifting, not as chill or calm,
It's not
right? Because it's a
uplifting, it's like
different
downlifting.
a little bit, yeah. I mean, it's useful, to release emotions, but I wouldn't listen to heavy metal or aggressive rap or anything like that in everyday life, because I would prefer to have higher and higher vibrations, and I don't feel like
Mm.
this music on a daily basis is going to get your vibration higher. I believe classical music or music that you love that actually uplifts your spirit is something that will raise your vibration, right? Because it changes your
Mm.
mood completely. But even if you, like, subconsciously, you can sense if in some place there was beautiful music, or even if you go to the music hall, you can feel this kind of like just uplifting vibes in there. I'm not sure if you guys who listen have ever experienced it, but if not, check it out. I go to some place where they play classical beautiful music, and then go to some place where they play heavy metal, and you will feel internally that the vibe is completely different. So it's just so important to really be selective about the music that you're listening to, because it's kind of like with watching
Mm.
TV. Although even the TV can play in the background in the room, but you're still putting it all into your subconscious mind. So even if the
Mm.
music is somewhere in the background, this is still going to your subconscious mind, and you're affected by that. So really be mindful of this on your, especially if you're on your spiritual path, spiritual journey. You want to get closer and closer to the universe, to really choose the music even that is around you, even that maybe you don't listen to, but people around you listen to, that is really like uplifting for you and raising your vibration. Because I think it's just so crucial to understand it. And since I saw the music with my own eyes or own eye one, this one in the middle, I really could see that it's actually like the energy coming into me or on my aura or whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to say that it's so important. Do you agree that, like, in these places, that when they play like, aggressive rap, for example, or versus like classical music, that you can feel a different vibe in these places?
Yeah, definitely. Like I have so many subjects now I want to go into from there. One I think which is really I think important is the frequency of the music. Maybe like a little bit into conspiracy territory, but um, right now in most instruments or most, yeah, I mean almost all instruments are tuned to A at 440 hertz. Okay, there's this kind of movement of people that are saying that A should be 432 hertz, so 8 hertz lower frequency. And if you ever seen that cymatics experiment where they take like a platter and they put salt on it and they put a speaker underneath and the speaker goes through different frequencies and the salt forms into different shapes. This is called cymatics. You can search it up. It's called cymatics. Um, and different frequencies create different shapes on the board. It's really, really crazy. And what I found is really interesting is that at 440, because between frequencies, the cymatic shape is kind of moving, it's shifting into another shape. It's like going from, let's say, like a square to a hexagon to an octagon, um, when it's in between frequencies, it looks kind of like a garbled mess. But then as it moves into a different frequency, it becomes very resonant and very kind of coherent. And if you look at the cymatics of A440 versus A432, you find that actually A432 is a much more coherent frequency. For example, I have a digital piano which I can tune into 432 hertz, and I was playing 432 hertz, and I don't know. I've come to like it. I think I prefer it. And obviously, if you go onto the internet and you search up, there's a big debate within different communities, and some people are saying it's nonsense. A should be 440 for whatever reason, just because it's a round number. And then you have this community of people that say, like, I've been listening to 4432 and it's more coherent. And actually, here's the interesting part: is that a lot of classic records like Michael Jackson, the Beatles, the Bee Gees, all of that stuff from the 80s is tuned into 432. So I think we settled the case where the classics, they, and also actually in the time of Mozart and Haydn, they were also experimenting with different tuning frequencies. They obviously didn't have technology, so they weren't able to, um, you know, tune things in the same way that we do. But there is historical evidence that suggests that certain composers were saying, let's do 432, and then other people like, let's do 436 or something, and then in between the spectrum. So I think that's one important aspect of the frequencies of music. Listen to 432. If you go onto YouTube, if you go onto YouTube or into like sound healing tracks, a lot of them have like different frequencies, like 528, or I can't remember, but there's so many different frequencies, and it's like, this is the love frequency, this is the healing frequency, and apparently the different chakras have different frequencies. And I had a psychedelic experience where I just, like, this blew my mind. But we have 7 chakras. There's also 7 chakras, 7 notes in a scale. We also have 12 sub chakras. Supposedly, there's 12 chromatic notes in a piano scale, which also aligns with the 12 apostles, with the 12 signs of the zodiac. So, like, this is all connected in some way. And I think the idea of listening to music in a certain frequency and it acting on a different chakra. Actually, if I can recommend someone on Instagram, there's this guy called The Fall Back Up, all one word. He's made an album where there's a different frequency, a different track for each of the chakras. And it's so weird because I swear it hits that chakra so much. Like, this is the sacral chakra, red chakra. And you listen to, like, this is the green chakra, the heart chakra. It's like, whoa. Like, if I didn't know which one it was playing, if somebody put randomly, I'm pretty sure I'd get like 90 to 100% accuracy, because it's so clear. Like, you're listening to this track and it's literally just punching you in your sacrum, or in your, in your solar plexus. So there's
This
something
is
magical going on
amazing.
with music that we're exploring.
It really is.
There's
It
something
really
really
is.
magical.
Yeah, it really is.
Mm.
And that's why I said that you are a magician, because, musician is a magician always. And I totally agree that the resonance of the music can resonate with the chakra, because I've experienced it multiple times when it was the case. And so, yeah, you guys, if you're interested, Google chakra meditation music and you will find all the different hertz for all these different chakras. But I was actually speaking of this 432 versus 440 for A, right? I think that
Mm-hmm.
actually the when I was on this festival, it's called Vibracje in Poland, vibrations, if you want to translate
Mm-hmm.
it, and we had this piano player Leszek Możdżer. He is a very known Polish piano player, and he actually had 2 pianos, one with 432 and one with 440 for A. And he was playing one and the other, and he was even playing it together. And we were supposed to guess which one do we feel like is sounding better. And for me, it was clear that the 432 was like more uplifting and more filling me up. Like, I don't know what was the difference. I couldn't really like put my finger on it and tell exactly like, okay, this is it. But I could feel that the 432 one was just kind of more, I don't know, just more in harmony with my body and with my soul. It's hard to explain it in words how it felt, but really, like the people could feel it, And it was interesting how he
It's
was playing them all both at the same time. He was just sitting in the middle and playing them both. It was an interesting experiment, but yeah, I totally believe in it just because I've experienced it on myself. How the A equals 432 hertz. was actually like more uplifting for me, or more, yeah, just felt better for my soul. So I had
Mm.
I actually experienced it on myself.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, there you go. You're a proponent of what we're talking about here. So
Y-
that's excellent.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly. And I also wanted to say something about what you said about cymatics. This is how you say it.
yeah, cymatics.
Cymatics. Okay,
It's spelled
cymatics.
it's spelled
Chymat
Cymatics.
Yes, it's klimatyka in Polish, so I don't know
Okay.
cymatics. I didn't know that word in English, but I know that once I was on this lecture of Bruce Lipton and Greg Braden. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but one is a cell biologist and one is a geologist, I think, from the profession. But they are both like big on consciousness and spirituality, and maybe some listeners, you guys maybe know them too. And they were talking about about exactly the cymatics, about how now, if we have now the frequency of earth and of the humanity, right, and let's say this frequency is G, to go from G to A, as you said, the pattern has to be in chaos for a moment. So they were explaining
Mm,
how every shift in consciousness, every shift in energy has to be with the chaos in between. And they were saying, like,
mm,
don't be surprised that now we can have chaos in the world, because our consciousness is changing and we are stepping into higher and higher vibrations all the time. So in between harmony there has to be chaos. So I feel like even the chaos is happening right now with the pandemics and the separation and vaxxed versus unvaxxed, and all these things happening right now, and the wars, and the crazy stuff in the world, because we are shaping our consciousness to go into a different vibration, right, into the new earth, into the higher frequency. And that's why we need to go through this phase where it's chaotic. It's like not, not harmonious, because in order for to go through from harmony, let's say G note, to A note, yeah, we need to go through this crazy times. And that's what they were saying, like, just bear with us, because we're gonna come to
mm,
the higher vibration and this chaos will finally be in harmony. So
mm.
that's just something that I thought about when you were speaking about it, and I really think that it's on point, because it can give us like a different perspective on what's going on right now. Not necessarily that it's all bad, and we don't know what's going to happen with the world. It's like, no, it's just kind of like it, just yeah, just some chaos before the
Yeah.
settlement.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, this kind of comes back to the whole like we live in a dualistic reality where there's a yin and the yang, up and the down, male, female, and this dual pattern, you can observe it everywhere, and it's the same in music. We have consonance and we have dissonance, and um, when you're composing music, when you're performing music, if you're musically aware, you'll notice that that's a tool that musicians are using. Is we're going from a chord that sounds nice, sounds consonant, to then it goes into a dissonant chord where it sounds unharmonious, and then again consonant and dissonant, consonant, dissonant. It's like a cycle. And if you look at also how harmony has evolved, I think this is really interesting. Is that in the Renaissance times, in early Baroque music and stuff, the music was very, very simple. It just had like a very straightforward kind of chord structure, very like simplified chords. And as we move into classical, romantic, and eventually into jazz, the harmony becomes more and more complex, which is almost like it's reflecting also the reality of the world that we live in. Things got more complex and more dissonant. Um, and now we're moving back into a more harmonious time, I hope. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope as well. But if we all focus on this vision that we are moving to the more harmonious times, it's gonna happen. So you guys, let's just hold the vision of harmony, peace, freedom, traveling, and our world being healthy and feeling amazing and feeling happy. So let's hold that in mind.
Mm.
Amazing. All
Hold
right.
the
So
intention. Yeah.
yes, let's hold this intention all together. And so I wanted to also ask about other methods of healing apart from music that you were using on yourself, because I saw on your recent Instagram posts that you were healing your body. And especially your skin. And I'm really curious about what exactly have you done, and can you maybe talk a little bit about the condition that you have, so that we can inspire people and let them know that you don't always necessarily have to use meds to get yourself out of a specific ailment, because you can use diet, you can use juicing, you can use
Mm.
supplements to actually get better, not necessarily always go to the doctor. So what was it, and what have you done as well to heal your body?
Definitely. So let's move on to that. So that's pivoting from music into natural health, which is another one of my big topics, which I'm super passionate about. And really, I definitely feel like I'm just an advocate for it because it's just something that happened in my life and something that I can speak of from very strong experience and from having experienced it, firsthand. And that's chronic health issues. So when I was little, I was diagnosed with eczema and asthma, which to me is the biggest load. Am I allowed to swear on this show? It's the biggest load of bullshit.
Yes.
Okay. So it's just a term that's being used to sell drugs. It's that simple. The pharmaceutical industry has lost touch from how the human body works. And I've just gone on this path through my whole life, through suffering a lot with, having inflamed skin, broken skin on my hands, rashes all the time. And I've just come to this point now where I feel like I've figured it out. Like I know it so well. It's actually making me think like maybe I should be a detox and health guru or something because essentially it's as simple as this: the human body needs to be in a state of harmony. We need to be clean and pure and detoxed. If you start introducing pollutants, even something as metabolic waste, which is just your body moving if you're doing an exercise or something, metabolic waste, it's acidity, it's mucus, it's all of those things that if they're blocking up the lymphatic system, it just comes to the surface. It just comes to the surface. If you look at how when you put like an aspirin, a dispersible aspirin, into a glass of water, and the dispersible aspirin bubbles up all the way to the surface, that's basically what a rash is. It's something is inside at the bottom of the glass, inside of your system, which is creating a chemical reaction, which is bubbling up, this stuff to the surface. That's just literally what rashes are. So the way to cleanse and purify from this, um, if I think some people now, they maybe never suffered from eczema or psoriasis or any of these skin conditions. It's literally the liver. The liver, as it's in the name, it's what makes you live. It's a very, very important organ. And eczema and asthma, well, eczema specifically, asthma is a little bit different, but eczema is all in the liver. A lot of chronic health conditions are in the liver. It's because the liver is a big sponge that it's sucking in all of the toxins from all of the body. um, it just sucks them in and then it holds them. And if you don't have the right diet for it to be moved through, that just stays and it stays stagnant and it causes a fatty liver, which eventually will lead to disease. And I see a lot of my friends. They just eat whatever they like. I'm like maybe a little bit maybe jealous, but um, because if I was to eat whatever I want for a longer period of time, it's gonna go straight onto my skin and it's gonna really affect me. So I have to cleanse myself to the point where my liver is at, 90, 95, 99% clean. And then if I have the little, cheeky, glass of alcohol or pizza, I'd love to say maybe I'm pure and I don't drink alcohol, but if I have like a piece of bread or something, then my body would be strong enough to support it and to not let it affect me, and then for it to come out in rash. But I think really my main message for people who are suffering from health problems is you can heal. It's not a question, it's a certainty. You can and you will heal. Come back to source, come back to yourself, reconnect with your divinity. um and yeah, you can heal, I think, 99% of health conditions. I think it's a scam the medical pharmaceutical industry is making to profit off people's illness, and it's just horrendous that people are suffering from these health conditions. And then there's like antibiotics. I feel like I've been mistreated. I've been like in an abusive relationship with the NHS or pharmaceutical industry, because they were just like, look at your skin. Here's steroids. Here's antihistamines. Here's, oh, you've got something around your mouth, some inflammation. Here's antibiotics. And now I'm just like, nah, bro. Here's my celery juice. That's all I need. Here's my pile of bananas and my apples. I have bananas and apples in my room because I'm just eating them all the time. Because the sugars in those foods are fueling your liver. Your liver needs water, air, sugar, and salt to function. Um, there's so many interesting things about how the human body works. I love these little facts. Like, for example, protein is a bit of a myth as well, because we take amino acids. We digest protein into constituent amino acids, and then our body, actually, I think our liver reforms those amino acids back into the proteins that you need. So it's the whole thing of like, you need proteins. Look at all these raw vegans or fruitarians or people who are on a juice cleanse. Where are they getting their protein from? There's no protein, or there's very little protein in fruits and vegetables. So a lot of this information that I'm talking about is kind of sourced from Medical Medium, Anthony William. If you want to figure out your health conditions, just go onto YouTube, or go on a search engine and just type in your health condition, and then Medical Medium, like eczema, Medical Medium, asthma, Medical Medium. And just I really believe in Medical Medium, and this is something that I'm super passionate about, is the fact that Medical Medium says my information comes from spirit of compassion. This isn't me. This is channeled information from this spirit of compassion, which is shouting in my ear. And he says, like, sometimes it's overwhelming. I'm just like, shut up, spirit of compassion. Can I just lead a normal life? But I believe he has a soul contract where he came to this earth to share this information. And spirit of compassion is just, he's written like 5 textbooks like this, and it's like he's been saying things that the medical industry doesn't know about, and then like 10 years later the medical industry proves that it's true. So I'm a big advocate for Medical Medium, for natural health. I think there's also a little bit of scammy things. Like, I really don't understand homeopathy, but I'm sure I'd love to understand more about it. I'm not an expert. But yeah, epigenetics as well. Bruce Lipton, Joe Dispenza, another health guys like Dr. Robert Morse or Dr. Sebi, for example, classic guy. All of these people have just incredible, powerful information that will help you heal. It will help you get off the medication, and you just have to be slow. You just have to be patient with it as you're phasing out your pharmaceutical medication. Maybe you'll. I'm not a doctor, so I can't attest to giving you medical advice, but in my experience, what I've done is been reducing. Like, if I start cleansing, I just notice that I don't need as much of whatever medication I'm using. If it's like antihistamines or whatever, I just start to cut it down to decrease the dosage. And I've healed my eczema once completely. For a year I was eczema free, and then I just started eating rubbish over Christmas. I just had chocolate and sweeties, and like I wasn't eating any vegetables. And then my eczema came back in like 3 weeks. So that's just put a fire in my belly. That's like, okay, I'm this time round, because it's just a relationship with yourself. This time round, I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to stay clean. And once I'm in a state where my health is really good, then maybe if I can have like, one cheat meal a week, and I see it doesn't affect me negatively, then that's fine. But like the suffering I've gone through with my skin is something that I would like never wish upon anyone, and I don't wish it upon myself. So I have to be more uh, consistent and just eat really healthy, because it works. It really, really does work. And you can see, if you go like hashtag celery juice on Instagram, just put hashtag celery juice on Instagram and see how many people are healing from this. And if you look into Medical Medium, he'll explain to you. He's got many hour-long podcasts just about celery juice, just explaining what celery juice does in the body. I find all of this, super fascinating. So yeah, I'm really, really a big advocate, and I'm so passionate to share this mode of healing. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's
What do you think?
amazing. I really love what you said, especially about like how we have a misconception about how we need stuff to function. I mean, I've been fasting for like 3 weeks, twice in my life. And I didn't feel like I need anything really, because of course it was a deep spiritual process. So I got my energy from the universe, you can say, or from the source, or from my meditation, breathing, whatever. You can get energy from different sources, not necessarily food, right? So you can get energy because you meditate, or because you feel good, or because you smell something, or you see something. Everything is energy, so we can get energy from different sources. So for me, I believe that it's all shaped on your beliefs, right? It's that your beliefs are the foundation. Because if you're gonna, for example, believe that if you don't eat for a week you're gonna have problems with your health, then it's probably gonna happen, because your brain shapes your body and how it responds to to the environment and to the factors that are there, right? So if you're eating or not eating. And I think some people even had problems with fasting because they believe that, oh, if I go 3 days without water, I'm gonna, my health is gonna deteriorate or whatever, something bad is gonna happen to you. And then it happens because you believe it, right? But if you believe that you're gonna be fine, and I hardcore believe that I'm gonna be fine, and I don't recommend, by the way, disclaimer, I don't recommend to do 3 weeks fasting straight away. I recommend to actually get some knowledge and try some shorter fasting first. But for me it was such a cleansing spiritual process that I knew that I don't even need solid food to function. And so all these talks about how you need this or how you need that, for me it just kind of like completely I had, yeah, these beliefs were completely reshaped in my mind, because I was like, nope, I don't need anything. And then I was on liquids for like half a year after that, after my first 3 weeks fast, and I was like, I can just go on liquids and I don't even need all this material, all this, like, let's say, solid food, right? So yeah, it was pretty interesting experiment for me, and I'm a big advocate for fasting as well, because it detoxes your body, as you said as well. But you don't have to fast to detox your body very well. For example, with the liver, I do this cleanse. It's called liver and gallbladder cleanse by Moritz. I think his name is Andreas Moritz. And he has this whole book explaining why you should cleanse the liver and gallbladder stones, because these are the residue that are stored in your liver. And also on an emotional level, this is where all your emotional, like, traumas can reside as well. And like, this is like a physical equivalent of where your emotions are stored. So if you dump the stones from your body, you're also dumping some emotional baggage from your body. And I've done this cleanse a few times, because you need to do it until there is no stones. And maybe it's not the most pleasant cleanse ever. You need to prepare for it for a few days, drinking apple cider vinegar with water or organic apple juice, like a liter of organic apple juice. But the cleanse itself only lasts one day, and you need to fast for only 24 hours or so. But it really makes a massive difference, and it works for pretty much all the chronic illnesses, to cleanse the liver, because the liver, as you said, is so important, and gallbladder as well. So if we can cleanse the liver, then everything else in our body, in our digestive system, even our immunity, it will work better, because the liver is our filter, right? Through which all the everything is like detox is there. So if the filter is dirty, imagine in the aquarium, right? Where
Mm.
if the water filter is dirty, then it's not gonna filter water really well, right? So if you cleanse your filter, your liver, then everything else in your body is going to function better as well. So I highly recommend this cleanse, and it's something that you really need to be consistent with, because you need to do it until you dump all the stones. And you have no stones anymore. And sometimes it takes like a year for people, every month, because you do it on the new moon. So sometimes it takes a long time, like 12 to 15 months for people to really get rid of all the stones. But it's really worth it, because after every cleanse, although it's not the most pleasant thing to do, after every cleanse you feel lighter. You actually feel the difference. And yeah, so I highly recommend it. And I totally agree that liver is one of the most crucial organs to look at if we want to talk about health, and especially healing the chronic illnesses. And I also healed my digestive system without any meds. I just taking supplements, taking probiotics, doing the enemas, just really fasting on juices or fasting on coconut water. These are really good tools to use, and you don't need to specifically, go to the doctor and give you some antibiotics, as you said. But also, one crucial thing that I
Mm.
wanted to mention on this topic is that I work with emotions as well. And in my journey of healing of my digestive system, it was actually super crucial to go into the emotional trauma too. Because, I understand that you say, like, okay, so I cannot eat this or I cannot eat that, because if my body is cleaner, I'm not going to get, the skin rash or whatever. But the very fact that you are sensitive enough that this bread would change your state of skin, for example, means that there is an emotion stored within you that makes you vulnerable to this, right? So if you go to the cause that is emotional, together with caring about your health in like a physical way, then you can fully resolve everything, because not everyone has a skin condition, not everyone has digestive issues, right? So that means that in these organs are stored emotions, which, if not resolved, these conditions can come back and back and back if I just go a little bit beyond my diet, or I forget about my supplements. But I feel like the point is to look at the physical and the emotional. So you are doing everything physical that you need to do, doing juicing and detoxing and fasting and taking supplements, but you also need to get to the core of the problem, the cause, really, because the cause is emotional. Because these emotions, when they are suppressed in our body, then they make our organs weaker. So, for example, liver is solar plexus. And if we felt powerless in our life, if we felt like a victim, if we felt like we can't change some condition in our life, or whatever else, whatever other emotion is stored there in the solar plexus, it's going to affect all the organs that are linked to the solar plexus chakra. So if unless we really release all the emotions that are the cause of our weaker organs or more sensitive skin or whatever else it is, then this condition can like easily come back. But whereas if we work on an emotional level and we work on physical level and we combine it both, we can fully heal, which to the point that we will not be have to be so strict when it comes to our diet, because our body is going to come to our natural harmonious state where we can handle anything, of course in moderation, right? We cannot have McDonald's hamburgers every day, because obviously our body is not going to handle it. But I mean, like, we don't have to be as strict if we work on the cause that is emotional. And we were, I think, even talking about it in Nosara when you said, "Oh, I have a rash skin condition." I'm like, "Oh, frustration, anger," because it's like
And I
classic.
was like,
I already
yeah.
know. Yeah, exactly, right? So it's even like there is a book, Metaphysical Anatomy, that describes like all kinds of conditions and all kinds of parts of the body and what kind of emotions it can be linked to. And I really truly believe, based on my own experience and healing my own digestive system, that yes, do everything with your health on a physical level that you can, but also do everything in your power to resolve emotions that are the cause of the physical issues on the first place. And it's very easy to do this, because when you, for example, have a rash or when you have other things, then think of the feeling, how you feel about this. For example, I have pain in my stomach. How do I feel about this pain? Oh, I feel frustrated because it's not going away. Okay, I'm going into frustration. Maybe the next day I have tension in my stomach. How do I feel about this? Oh, maybe I feel powerless this time. Okay, I'm going into powerlessness. And if you resolve all these feelings behind it, then it's going to be way easier for you to maintain the healthy state, whether or not you have a slice of pizza here and there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think for me, and this is where I think this gets into a really interesting and very important territory, is that when you're suffering, like when I don't want to say I was suffering because it makes me like I'm a victim or something, but that's not my point. My point is to any listener who is listening to this and is struggling with some kind of health condition. Um, like I wish I heard this kind of information 5 or 10 years ago because it would have put me on a different path. But I think it's really important to, let's put it bluntly, like to keep discernment and to be aware of really what's going on, because there's a lot of people that are promoting all kinds of things just to sell a product. And I mean, definitely a lot of them are probably right. Like I think magnesium is important. I think, zinc and B12 and vitamin D, they're all important. Maybe you need to supplement them. But I think there's a lot of kind of scammy things in there. I've thrown everything at my body to trying to heal it, and sometimes I've had like really negative reactions to what I'm doing, and it's just because somebody's put up like a bunch of videos. It sounds coherent, sounds interesting what they're doing, or they're selling some kind of cleanse that's like a few hundred or a few £1,000s, and it's like, sorry, this doesn't actually do the job. So I just say practice discernment and be careful with what you're doing. If your gut, if your intuition says this doesn't sound right, then try to develop that ability to listen to that intuitive force. Yeah, because you know, should I list it? Should I give the examples? I've tried all kinds of things, and it's like sometimes it's like, this is rubbish. Um, so yeah, just um, yeah, be careful with what you put in your body, because you can actually cause yourself some harm. And what you said about the energy and the emotional aspect. So I'll give my kind of 2 cents on that. I think definitely the emotional aspect is important. You need to be working on um, addressing your stored up emotions. Have you got something from childhood, some kind of anger or some kind of sadness or some kind of frustration? Those are the three emotions that came up in my coaching. Um, have you processed them? And sure, it's a journey and you'll get there eventually, but you have to be actively pursuing that. But for me, what I found was, I think, a bit disheartening was when um, I speak to people and they see my condition and they go like, "Oh, you need to do this. Oh, you need to do this," and it's like, okay, maybe I've done that and it didn't work, or I mean, of course, people are coming from the heart; they want to help, which is great. But it's a little bit like I don't know, just my personal experience is if you're talking to someone who's struggling with chronic health, don't be like, "Have you tried vitamin E?" It's like, okay, shut up. It's more complicated than that. Like, or somebody's telling you like, "Oh, just put castor oil on your skin." It's like, yeah, sure, I'll put castor oil on my skin. It will kind of, fix the dryness, but why is my skin dry? Like, you're not addressing the core issue. And until you kind of go deeper, if that's food or if that's emotions, I think the two need to be done in parallel. But I really do think that what's really important to remember is we live in a very toxic, polluted society right now. We're in this earth, and during the age of Kali Yuga, which is the time of disharmony, of confusion. And what that means is that there's just so much toxicity. There's pesticides, there's heavy metals, there's pollution from cars and all of these chemical processes. When you listen to Medical Medium, and he explains also what's the chemical processes that are happening in factories where they're literally like burning stuff. Like, if you live in an industrial area and there's like chimneys pumping stuff out, you have no idea what that is. And there's so many cases of people living in some kind of community, and there's some kind of industrial thing, or in America, like with the Flint, the water, or there's so many examples in history, you can easily find them, where some kind of company or some kind of industry has been dumping pollution into the water streams or into the air, and then there's people suffering from horrendous conditions. And I'm sorry, but you can't heal that just with emotional stuff. I'm sure a lot of stuff you can heal with emotional stuff, definitely, but for me, for my health condition, I could be meditating 4 hours a day. Okay, maybe if I went to like an ashram and was somewhere really, really zen, but in living in a city, living with this kind of society, I have to be cleansing with food. It has to be food, and it has to be emotional work. Cutting out the diet part for someone who's got like a really serious condition, you're going to be struggling. You're going to be struggling. I remember I had a call with a healer, and she was great. She really did help me unlock some emotions. But I asked her, "What do you think is the ratio?" And she said she thinks it's 75% emotional work and 25% diet. I think I've heard other people which would probably say it's the other way around. I'd say maybe it's 50-50, but it also depends from person to person. So um, that's my 2 cents on the subject. I think it's very important, like, because it's a sensitive subject, because you don't want to be giving people advice where they're gonna you know have a health problem and get worse, actually, because you're telling them to do something and then they're like, "Oh my gosh, my rash is actually much worse now. What have you done?" you know you don't want people suffering. you
Absolutely.
want you want to create harmony in the world.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
I am a big advocate of physical healing as well. Don't get me wrong. I that's why I believe that it's important to work on both, because I believe that we have an emotional body, right? Our energetic body that we cannot really see, but these are emotions stored in our body. And if there is too many emotions suppressed in one part of the body, then this organ or this spot in our body is not working that well. And then we have this physical issue coming as the result of the energetic issue that we have already in our emotional body. But if we already have something coming up on a physical level, that means that we need to also address it on a physical level, because it's already there. So if we only work on an emotion that is the cause, surely, okay, we can resolve the cause. But if the rush is already there, or if the something else, if the parasites are already there in my intestines, then I also need to do the parasite cleanse with some nuts and extracts and whatever like that, because the cause, okay, is removed, but the effect is there, and we need to work on both, on cause and on the effect, because it's not like if we remove the cause, the effect that is already there is gonna disappear. I think that it could, depending on the case, right? But I would say address both the emotional cause and the physical effect. And the physical effect could be also based on the pollutants in the water, as you said, or in the food. So I would say that addressing both at the same time is the best thing ever, because if I only would address emotions, I don't feel like I would be in such a good health right now without doing the enemas, without doing the cleanses, without caring about my diet, being vegan, eating healthy, doing yoga, meditating, that all these factors that I also do on a physical level, that, yeah, there are influencing. So I would say combine both and see what's coming out of both types of healing, let's say emotional and physical. So yeah, just wanted to clarify that, because I think it's
Mm,
important. And as
yeah.
you said, some things cannot be only healed emotionally, because it's just impossible, because the physical effect is already there, so it needs to be addressed in a physical level, I think.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. You have to be sensitive, especially when somebody's like really struggling. Like there's been times when I've been like really bad, and it's like, you don't want to give people misinformation where they're actually going to be like, I have a friend who has Crohn's disease, and he's had like 20 inches of his intestines cut out because it was inflamed, and he's eating meat and stuff. And I'm like, come on, you need to get on the juices or whatever. But he just goes to the doctors and they give him more immunosuppressants and steroids. And I feel really sorry for the guy because he's really struggling with that illness. But I've also seen a lot of testimonies from people who have cured their Crohn's. So I think it's definitely possible to heal from that. On the subject of the emotional thing, the kind of conclusion that I reached recently was actually that if you're in a state of loving yourself and a state of like harmony with yourself, that's going to affect your diet choices. For example, when I went into that moment where I was just like, oh, I'm just, that Christmas, and I just like started eating chocolate and biscuits and everything, and then my rashes started coming back. Why did I do that? Was I loving my body when I was feeding it that kind of food? Why did I stop eating vegetables? What was I in a good mental state? Why did I do that? And the answer is like, if you love yourself, if you have that deep connection and that deep respect where you care for yourself, and you know that if you harm your body, you're not just harming your body, you're also harming your community because you're not functioning within your community well. I had that with one of my coaching calls. My coach told me like, when you're in a state of bad health, is it affecting you, or is it affecting you and also people around you? And it's affecting people around you. Like if you're not happy with how you're feeling, that's affecting people around you as well, and you're not showing up how you need to be in society. So going on that 3 weeks over Christmas of just eating chocolate and biscuits or whatever, how is that going to affect you? Is that a state of love? And that's why I've kind of come to the point. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to feed myself really, really well. I'm going to heal myself with all the foods that I'm eating now. Just all the detoxing foods, all of the medical medium. I mean, honestly, it's like 80-90% of what I'm doing is just medical medium information applied onto me. Um, and if then on a weekend I want to, last night I had a pizza with my friends and it was great, and no adverse effects. No, because I've been drinking celery juice every day for the last like 2 months. So I think, yeah, it's just important, I think, in my eyes to be sensitive to that, because like people that are struggling, it's not kind to just be like, oh yeah, do this, do this. It's like it's more complicated than that. I'm doing my best, so yeah.
Absolutely. And for all the people who listen and who maybe struggle with chronic health conditions, please contact us, because we might have some perspectives that you might benefit from. Of course, don't take everything that we say as true. Just check with yourself. And sometimes I feel like I've checked already so many as well, healers, naturopaths, shamans. I went to so many people to heal, and I found my path because I was exploring so much. So for everyone who struggles with some health conditions, find your own path, but check different stuff. Ask people who have already maybe gone through the healing that you are going through, and then check what works for you, because it's not going to be the same what works for me or for Philip or for anyone else. So check it out, but you can contact us if you feel like you need some support. And Philip, where can people find you the easiest? How they can contact you if they want to listen to some beautiful music or maybe get some advice when it comes to health?
I think probably the best platform is to reach me on Instagram, which is at I am Phillip Warda, spelled as you can see on the screen, hopefully. Or yeah, if you just get in touch through there, we can maybe talk about other things. I'm feel like I'm very, I'm not an expert, I'm not qualified in this, but I think that I can say I'm definitely an expert in eczema because I've suffered with it for so long, and I know that I've done things that I've worked on it. And if you're, you come to me and you're like, yeah, I'm kind of cleansing and I'm doing this and I'm having vinegar and nutritional yeast, and I'll be like, and a coffee. I'd be like, yeah, that's not going to help. Your adrenal glands are going to be thing. The vinegar is going to pickle your liver. Cut all that out. Just get on fruits and vegetables, and that's what's going to fix it. But yeah, I'm very happy to share this information because I just wish that I had someone like that. Like, I only found medical medium recently. I really wish I found that kind of information a long time ago, because it would have really, really changed my life. I'd be, maybe health problem free right now and living in a completely parallel reality. But hey ho, I'm on this path. It's a beautiful path. I'm very grateful for everything I've experienced. Um, it's funny. I'm doing like gratitude journaling, and I'm literally writing like, I am so grateful for my suffering. I'm so grateful for my eczema because of all the things I've learned from it. It's really made me more like humble and everything. So yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful experience.
That's
But yeah,
beautiful.
get
That's
in
really
touch with me if you
beautiful.
want.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
so
Thank you.
nice. That's so nice. And always what we go through that is really hard for us brings us to more understanding of the world and of the health. I also feel like I know a lot about health right now just because I had to heal myself. My viruses and parasites and my digestive system, it was all really bad, maybe like 1.5 or 2 years ago. But right now I feel so energized. I feel like I'm more healthy than ever. And it wouldn't be like that if I didn't go through this whole process of suffering for some time and just finding my way out of it, right? So all these negative things in our life always bring us more understanding and more growth in our soul and in our, yeah, just knowledge about the world and wisdom that we have. So yeah, this is beautiful what you shared. Thank you so much, and thank you for being on the podcast today. It was a really amazing conversation. All beautiful topics that we touched upon. And yeah, whenever you play a concert, whether it's online or in person, let us know. To anyone who listens, please go to Philip's Instagram. He plays amazing magical music. Seriously, you can also find him on YouTube. Actually, I've been
Thank you.
listening and to
Yeah.
some of the videos there. So yeah, if you want to listen to some
Oh yeah.
beautiful soul and heart opening music, find him on YouTube. And thank you, Philip, so much for being with us today. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. It's such an honor to talk with you and share this information. So I really hope that listeners get something from what we've been talking about, and keep on healing. And you've got this. In whatever state of health you are, I'm sure you can get through any problems, and your life's going to be amazing. So wish you all the best, anyone who's listening.
Thank you so much for listening or watching us today, beautiful people. And I just want to say a little disclaimer that we are not giving any medical advice and we are just sharing our perspectives here. So go and consult with your doctor if you would like to try anything that we mentioned in this show or any other show of SoulFam. But we're just sharing what has helped us in our journey, our healing journey, really. And so, yeah. If you'd like to contact me, I am The Connection Catalyst. You can find me on Instagram, or you can go to www.connection-catalyst.com. There is a lot of info about what I do on my website. And yeah, thank you so much for being with us again. And yeah, see you next time.